Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if you can see me or not. Um, Welcome to Ask the Nanny. Let me scoot closer to the screen. I apologize for being late. As I was turning on my camera, my tripod fell apart. So here I am. But we're gonna make it work. Gonna make it do what it do. So hold on. I got stuff going on everywhere over here, and trying to turn off things and get things. I hope my lighting. Let me put some more light over here under me. Can you all see me? I hope you can. Anyway, so I'm busy recuperating and recovering from my tripod falling apart. So like I said, I apologize for the technical difficulties. We will get right into our interview. I'm going to invite Marcy. Marcia. Okay. I'm going to add her in so we can get started. And there she is.
I made it.
No, I made it.
I know.
I'm having one of those days. I got to work late, and then I'm stuck in traffic, and then I get home. I get everything set up. It's 7:01. I'm gonna make it, and then my tripod just literally, my phone hits the floor. Tripod falls apart. I'm like, ah! And I was thinking to myself, "Don't panic. Do not panic. Do not panic.
Right.
You can do this."
Yes.
You know, we're
When it comes to
nannies.
technology, I have a hard time not panicking. That's my first mode. I hate
Yes,
technology.
yes. And it's like, okay, don't panic. You're a nanny. You can do this. So, we're supposed to be super. We can do anything. So I had to go into super nanny mode. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm sweating profusely. So how are you?
I'm all right. I'm recovering from my family's vacation to California. So coming back to that, and unfortunately, I had a couple of mishaps and unfortunate events when we came home, but we're making it through.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're making it too. We're all
We'll just make it through, right?
making it through. So tell us a little bit about yourself outside of the nanny world. Let me go.
Sure. I am a mom to three amazing children. Nadia is 9, Lucy is 6, and Isaac is 4. And we've all just had a really fun, exciting, exhausting vacation to Disneyland. They had a
Yay!
blast with that. I'm married to my husband's name is Scott, and we live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the area. And I was a nanny for 15 years before I became a work from home mom. I took care of children in my home for probably another 6 or 7 years. And now I have a nanny coaching team, which is a company that works with educating nannies and coaching nannies. And I work as the executive director for the International Nanny Association now, as well as I just wrote a book.
You have a lot going on.
I have a few irons in the fire, yeah.
I thought I was the only one that's doing multiples and multiples and multiples.
I think that's kind of a characteristic of a lot of nannies that I know. We are very good at multitasking, aren't we?
Very good, very good. Especially since I have this, you won't be able to believe the setup that I have to get this to. I'm not even gonna. I look
Is
like
duct tape involved?
no, but Lego boxes are.
Those work too. Those work
Lego
too,
boxes
yeah.
are involved. Trust me, it was a true nanny move. So tell us. My first question is, And I was just asked that someone sent me a message before we went online. They told me to ask you, are you doing a book tour? And if so, where?
So I I don't know that I'm doing a book tour. I would, if anybody wants me to go somewhere, invite me. I was at Nanny Palooza West this past weekend, so I guess that was sort of a mini book tour. I will be at APNA in a couple of weekends. I wish that I could go to Nanny Palooza East at the beginning of November, but I actually have an event with my kiddos. Um,
Okay.
but, as far as like a traditional book tour, I mean, no, but, if somebody is interested in seeing me somewhere, I certainly could talk to them about it. This is sort of just a pet project of mine that I really feel like is going to be a benefit to the industry and something that is needed to have all of this information in one place. And actually, I have a copy of it here. I don't know.
Yay.
It's backwards, of course, but
Of course, but that's
that's the
okay.
plus.
That's
And it's now available on Amazon, which is excellent. And I had that in International Nanny Recognition Week deal going on. People can keep looking on my website and become a newsletter subscriber because, of course, periodically I'll probably have some deals and stuff like that for the book and
okay.
other things. But yeah.
Well, the winner of our Ask the Nanny uh, book winner, which was your book, is Mary Alger. And she was like, I just came back to Facebook and this is what happens. Yay. And I was
I
like,
know,
boy,
I
that's a
actually
good
saw
woman to
her.
come back. That's a good
She was
woman to
at
come
Nanny
back.
Palooza West and she told me
Yes.
I won the book. I was like, yay.
Yes, she won the book. Yes, she won the
Yeah,
book.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So we were. I was excited about that. But so tell us, how was Nanny Palooza?
Nanny Palooza was great. It was wonderful. Sue Downey always does such a fantastic job. The workshops from everything that I mean, I spent most of the time, out in the lobby and that kind of stuff. I did present one workshop, but I heard amazing things about the presenters. The people there were amazing. It was great to get to, see people that I've known for a long time, meet new faces. My 9-year-old actually spent the day Saturday with me, and
Wow.
she had a great time. She keeps telling me she wants to go to one of these conferences with me, and this was a great opportunity for her to stop by and spend the day with me. And I think she had a good time, and I think she was helpful to more people than just me, I think.
Well, good for her. Good for her. She got to see what mommy in action and got to be a part of the
Yeah,
action.
yeah, and
So
she'll
did you
help me sell my book. She actually is quite the salesperson. If I'm not even kidding you, she
did you
she
sell
was
out?
she told I did sell out. I did sell out.
Oh, good.
I oversold. I actually offered it to some of the people for just a little bit more shipping so that I would ship it to them. But she keeps telling people I'm a good salesperson because I'm a girl.
Because she's a girl. Girl power. Yes.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So tell us, what made you want to write the book? Was it your business that made you want to write the book, or was it something that, just itching in you all this time?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you had asked me, I don't even 3 or 4 years ago, like, do you want to write a book? My answer would have been really no. I have no like itching desire to write a book. I've always, kind of for a long time I've written articles and I've written blog posts and those kind of things. And so, I have some abilities in that area, but I really came out of starting Nanny Coaching Team. And my initial reason for starting Nanny Coaching Team was because and remember this was 2000, oh, I can't even remember. It was several years ago. I would say probably 2015 when it really started. Um, there was, we have all of these amazing conferences, Nanny Palooza, INA, and
Hmm.
they're growing. There's more options. There are lots of educators out there now in the field, but so many people aren't able to get to go someplace physically. It's an expense to actually fly someplace and stay in a
Right.
hotel. And I wanted to kind of provide an option for people who weren't able to get to those events. Not that they should be a replacement for those conferences, because those conferences are incredibly valuable and you get so much networking and community out of that,
Mm-hmm.
and you learn a lot more being present too. But my goal in Nanny Coaching Team was to be sort of like bring the conference to their bedroom or their living room or wherever it is they are, so
Right.
that there was something available for people who couldn't quite afford it at this point, or didn't have the time off of work this year or something like that, like something was preventing them. So I started building this library of videos, and I ended up with about 35 different topics. And I thought, I was putting it out there, for people to purchase the videos, and they can actually build I called it build a conference. They can actually build their own conference within our website. They have their own web page on our website where they can, add any videos they want. And I started thinking, this there's really good information here. And for somebody who's just starting out to be able to pick up one book or one thing and sort of have everything in their fingertips would be a really valuable tool, as well as something for the seasoned nanny who maybe doesn't need to know anything about working with multiples right now, or working with a divorced family right now, but down the road, you never know. You never know what's
Right.
going to happen. So being able to provide this book as a reference tool for nannies that are new and nannies that are seasoned really appealed to me. And so it just sort of flowed out of that building of those videos. I had originally thought that maybe I could put all of the topics in one book, and when I started compiling it, I realized I was going to have like 1,000-page book if I did that. So I had
War
to
and
pick the
Peace.
topics. Right, it was going to be like this. I had to pick the topics that I felt the most applicable to the most people. Some of the videos that I have are on like toxins in the home, and care of newborns, basic care of newborns, safety in the home, safety out of the home. So what I did with the book is I sort of focused less on the care of the children, which of course is very, very valuable. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not that I'm not, because I excluded those from the book doesn't mean that I don't find that important. But I really wanted this book to focus on what is the relationship the nanny has to the parents, and how does she interact in that? Because we all know that this job is different than, there is no job out there that you are the employee, but you're also like a partner, parenting with the children, with the
Right.
parents. But then to the kids, you're kind of like family. They live and breathe you. A lot of nannies are there so much more. They're there more than the parents are, and so the nanny needs to really
True.
navigate that. That's a really difficult thing. With any given situation, you could be trying to fill 3 needs at one time, and how does a nanny do that? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, you are an employee, but you're also a partner with the parents, and you're also a family member to the kids, and so you have to really figure that out. And so that's kind of what this book focuses on. It focuses less on how to care for the kids, because it's important, but there are a lot of places that you can find how to care for the kids, what the best discipline method is, you know, what formula to choose, or what schools to choose, or whatever it is that you're thinking, maybe car seats. All of those things are so important, but there are a lot of places that you can find that. In the nanny world, there really isn't anything. I mean, there are things sporadically out there, but this book really focuses on what that relationship is within the home and how you navigate it.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask everyone who's watching to please hit the share button so that we can share this with all the nannies, as many nannies as possible. I had a chance to read the book, and I'm like, oh, I need to add that. Oh, I need to take that. I found myself critiquing myself as I was reading the book. It's like, okay, yeah, I do that. I do that. I need to add that. Okay, that's a good point. So I found some things, and I've been nannying for 18, 19 years, and but it's always changing. And because it's always changing, you can't, some of the tried and true still works, and it works well.
Mhm.
But try the old school and the new school, put them together, and you got a whole new middle school. So it works. And I chose chapter 5 about the interview.
Yeah.
That I've lately I have been um, I've had several nannies coming to me and say, "Well, I need to interview for another job. What do I need to do? How do I need to do this?" And it's just like, okay, the interview, the resume, the portfolio, it's the getting ready to go to that interview. Oh, or is there anything I should special I should wear? Is there anything I should? And when I saw that, I
Mhm.
was like, yes, this is what I need to share with the nannies that come to me, just in case I forget something. There's a checklist, and I'm thinking,
Mm.
yes, I got something to reference.
Well, and tips that
And
I mean, one of my, one of the reasons that I love this book so much is because it's not just all me. It's not just my ideas. Um,
right.
I might have some good ideas here and there, but I know people who are really good at certain aspects of the world, the nanny world. And Donna Shannon, I chose her for interviewing because I saw her teach a workshop at INA many years ago, and it still is with me. The information that she gave at that
Mm-hmm.
workshop is still with me, and so she was really great. And when I interviewed her for this book on the topic of interviews, she gave me tips and tools that, of course, I didn't even know. She didn't even share them in that workshop many years ago, but they were so easy to use. I mean, very simple tips and tools. Like one of my favorite things that she had said was when you are preparing for your interview to recite tongue twisters.
Yes, that's.
Wasn't
I
that
was
great?
like,
What a great
I
idea.
I thought about now when I tell nannies to when they're preparing, I say, stay off of Facebook. I said because the last thing you need is one of your friends telling you bad news before you go into an interview, and
Right.
your brain is set in
It's somewhere
bad
else,
mode
yeah.
somewhere
Hmm.
else, instead of focusing on this is what I need to do. Stay off of social media
Hmm.
before you go into
Yeah.
the interview.
It's a good tip
That
too.
morning, that just the whole day, just take a reprieve from social media so that you
Focus
can
on.
focus on what you need to do. um, and then if you're sitting there on focus on social media, you're like, oh, I only have 5 minutes, I gotta go work. And you're running and you're rushing, and people can tell when you're rushing.
Yeah.
They can
Oh
tell
yeah.
when you're not 100% put together. So when I
Right.
was looking at that chapter, I was like, okay, this is where I am right now, because, and this is what I need to focus on right now, because I
Hmm.
have like 7 or 8 nannies coming to me at the same time within the last 3 weeks, asking me about the interview and how to prepare for meeting the parents. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this book is it's not just for the brand new nanny. It's
Yeah.
for the nanny, the experienced nanny. It's for the nanny that has been in there for like maybe, more than 5 years, but less than, 10 years. There's something in this book for everyone. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you was how did you go about choosing the people that you interviewed for the book?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, I think it's just experience with people in the industry. I've been a member of INA since 2006, actively involved since 2009, and been to Nanny Paloozas, been to INA conferences, been to National Nanny Training Days, interacted on social media with people. And when I meet people and have conversations with them, sometimes those things stick, and there's something about them that makes me think this is a topic or a subject that they sort of excel at. So when, like I said, with Dawn and Shannon, that was one of the things I had heard her speak at a conference, and it hit me. It stuck with me, and I'd followed her and interacted with her since I had seen her at the INA conference, and when I started, putting together a list of topics that I wanted to educate, put it in out there in the world, um, digitally through video. And an interview is a huge one, right? Because a lot of nannies get really scared about interviews, that it's really can be an
Right.
intimidating process. All the way from the first phone call to the end, it's really very intimidating because there's
Right.
negotiations in there. There's all sorts of different things that you have to deal with within the context of the interview process. And so when I started thinking about that topic, I would just think, okay, who is somebody that what they've said to me or the way they've reacted or something about them has made me think this is a strength that they have. And that's kind of how I chose them. Not to
Okay.
say that there aren't other people, like, I mean, a lot of these people could probably speak on multiple topics, you know what I mean? But
Right.
I tried to kind of um, select people that I had been moved by or I had learned something from regarding that subject.
Well, that's a good. I would be the same way personally. People that I
Yeah.
have personal relationships with, people that I know, I have dealt with and talked with personally because they have meant something or they have planted a seed in my life,
Yeah.
and the passion.
Hmm.
I know the passion will probably come out through my writing or my speaking or whatever because I've had a personal relationship with that person
Yeah.
and I trust them and they wouldn't steer me wrong. And that
Yeah.
was one of the reasons I was asking because I, I know Glenda um
Hmm.
I can no me not
Folks.
about her name Probst.
Folks. Yeah.
Her she is I love her. I mean, when
Hmm.
the first time she did Ask the Nanny on a nanny transition, then when I saw she was a part of the book, I was like, yes. So I was all up in there reading.
Well,
Yeah.
she sparked, like, it was a conversation with her that first sparked the idea of doing these educational videos, which of course then led into the book, for so like a series for nannies who were newer, that so
Hmm.
there was something for them to um when you met a nanny who was new and said, I'm just starting out, where do I start? Here you go. This is where you start. This is a great
Yes.
starting off point. It's going to give you a lot of different tools. It's going to give you a good overall, roundabout about a lot of different things. So, um, yeah,
Okay. So
she's great.
now, do you have a favorite chapter in the book?
Sue Downey asked me that question too. That's like asking which of my children I love more. You can't ask a question like that. Favorite? No, but I do have a couple that I had mentioned a few with Sue, and I had a couple that as I was thinking about our interview that I thought I might mention. One of the ones that I think nannies don't really think about very much is dealing with a family that's going through trauma. And that's a topic that I did tackle. And actually, it's really interesting. As I worked with the editor on this book, she was working with me, to work on the actual wording and everything. But she had actually quite a bit of insight into this chapter in itself, the family trauma, because she was a child of divorce, and so that's one of the traumas that families can go through. But as she and I talked through different things that I said in the book about trauma and about working with families of divorce, she actually gave me a lot of insight into that too. But most nannies don't like start in a job thinking, okay, this is a family that's going through trauma. Trauma usually hits just sort of like in the middle of a job. I mean, occasionally you might take a job with a family that you know that is struggling, but usually it just kind of hits,
Oops,
and the
sorry.
nanny needs to know how to deal with that. So,
Yes.
so
Okay.
that's one of my favorites. It's one of the ones
Okay.
that I feel like is really important. I love there's a chapter on working with teens, and I think that I hear it all the time that nannies are like, oh, but what about us that, work with teens? Because there are a lot of nannies out there that work with teens or preteens, or their kids are starting to get to those ages and they want to continue with the family into the teen years. And so how do you kind of navigate that whole thing? And Carly Lithmith actually spoke with me about that. She's a nanny of teens. She did a really, had a lot of really great things to say about that too. I have also been a nanny of teens, but not nearly as much as her. And so she really gave a lot of insight on that.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. I've had her on Ask the Nanny too. We had a question. Can you give us an overlook of the book? Maybe tell us what the chapters are titled.
Sure, I can go through every single one of the chapters if you'd like. There are 24 chapters, and they're broken up into 3 sections. The first section is called the basics. So it is the basics. It is, all of those things that you absolutely need to know. The first chapter 1 is the dream versus the reality. The next one is work agreements matter. So having that work agreement in place and having it be a really solid document that you can go to over and over again. The third chapter is getting paid legally. Very, very important.
Yes.
The fourth is writing an effective resume. I think a lot of nannies don't know where to start with that too. And this chapter gives you some help with that. Chapter 5 is navigating the interview process, like you said. Chapter 6 is choosing the right job and how you do that. What are the factors that you put into that? Chapter 7 is before your first day. So that's like all the stuff that you need to know before you start that job on the first day. And then chapter 8 is the review process. And I talk about annual reviews as well as regular periodic conversations that you have with the family to keep up to date. You should be talking to them more than just once a year.
Yes.
Section 2 is developing yourself. So it kind of is going a little bit deeper into some things. Chapter 9 is standing out as a professional. Chapter 10 is healthy communication. Chapter 11 is asserting yourself. And that's another topic that I think nannies need more than sometimes we realize we need it.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Chapter 12 is dealing with conflict, which is a little different than asserting yourself. How do you deal with conflict in the relationship? Again, focusing on that like nanny-employer relationship. Chapter 13 is self-care and the nanny. That is really important to take care of yourself. Put your own oxygen mask on before you help the children because you can't help them if you're dead or
True.
unconscious. Chapter 14. Chapter 4 is working with different discipline styles. So we all have our favorite discipline style that we think is the right way to do it, but not every family that we're going to work with feels the same way about that. Chapter 15 is the parent-child bond. Are you still there? Because I'm frozen somehow.
I'm here, but I hear you, but you're frozen. Okay. Just keep going. I guess it'll catch up with us.
So the parent-child bond, that's really important because when nannies work with families for a lot of hours, or they work with children for a lot of hours, sometimes they forget why it's important for the parents to really be bonding with the children. And then this is going to give you some tips to actually encourage that bond. I mean, you can't make it happen, but there are some tools that you can use to help the parent bond.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, my makeshift fell down. Okay, I'm good.
Your Legos are down.
Let me call the men in the Lego movie and come help me.
So the last chapter in section 2 is the household manager, how to work as a nanny and a household manager. And so that kind of gives you some tools to help, fill those roles and fill those jobs so you can continue with the family after kids are in school. Section 3 is entitled specialized situations. So they're very specific situations that you probably won't need. Not every nanny will need with every job, but I can almost guarantee you if you're in this career for more than, 5, 10, 15 years, you're going to encounter pretty much every one of these at some point. The first one is families during trauma. Like I said, that's a really important topic that a lot of nannies just don't think they need, and then all of a sudden they need it because a parent is
Yes.
diagnosed with something, or there's some kind of accident, or a parent loses a job. There are many different ways that families deal with trauma, and this really helps with that. Chapter 18 is separated and divorced families. So, again, some nannies will take a job knowing that they're working for a family that is parents are separated or divorced. And some nannies will get to work on Monday morning and find out that they're now working for a family that is separated or divorced. And
Right.
how you deal with that and what goes into working and being a nanny for a family in that situation. Chapter 19 is exceptional children. This is working with children who have maybe special needs or some other kind of exceptional need. It's a very, very specialized field. You really need to know what to expect, what the parents need out of you, and how to help. Caring for multiples is another topic that not every nanny will encounter, but
That
knowing
would be
something about
me.
working with multiples is really important. And what some of the tricks and tricks that you can have up your sleeve are for working with
Yep.
multiples. Working with teens is chapter 21. I kind of shared a little bit about that. Traveling with families, whether it's as a travel nanny or something else, just going on a vacation with them. It's kind of some of the tips that you would need to know for that. And then
Yes.
chapter 23, the in-home parent, working with a parent who either works from home or is a stay-at-home parent part of the time. It's a really, really growing area because of
Yes, it
the ability for
is.
parents to work with technology at home. And it causes a lot of friction in the relationship sometimes.
And that
And then the
causes a
last
lot
chapter,
of,
it causes
okay,
a lot of what?
no, I was just saying that cause you said it causes a lot of friction, and you also need a lot of communication in that
Yes,
situation.
yes.
I've been there and done that too many times.
It takes a kind of nanny that knows how to set boundaries, not only with children, but with parents. Very strong
Yes.
boundaries with care and respect, you know what I mean? But
Yes.
they need to be able to say that this is why we need to do it this way, because otherwise it gets really chaotic
Right.
quickly. And the final chapter is leaving a job with grace and how you do that. Every nanny will need that one because at some point
Everyone. You're going,
every job is going to end at some point in some way. So
whether you want it to or not, whether it is a coming in, I'm sorry, we no longer need you, and you're like, and then you have to fight that urge to throw everything up against the wall.
yeah, exactly. Yep, yep.
Yes, yes. So it takes all those special situations. Now, I have another question. Someone asked, how long are the chapters?
Well, they vary. That's a good question because I could probably tell you how long they were when I typed them out. They were probably between 6 to 8 pages that were typed, but when you format it into book format, it ends up being 8 pages ends up being more like probably 15. There's probably somewhere between 10 to 15 pages, maybe 20 pages a chapter, depending on what the topic is. I think that I know the work agreement chapter is quite a bit longer because it goes into sort of everything that I feel you should have in a work agreement.
Right.
And that takes a lot of pages to explain. But some of the chapters are shorter. Working with multiples is a bit of a shorter chapter, if I remember correctly. So there's somewhere between 10 to 20 pages each. And I can kind of show you the little typed here. This is kind of what they look like. They're not super tiny print, so you know.
And I'm glad it's large print, because those of us who are, visually challenged,
Yeah.
it makes
Oh,
it makes for a, I saw a picture.
I can show you. I can show you my children did some artwork for them. That's my daughter Nadia's
Ah,
artwork.
that's so
Sorry, the
pretty.
words are backwards, but that's her picture. That one was Nadia's. I had them each do a picture for this. Uh-oh, there. Here we go.
Okay, I'm
Here's
here.
Lucy's
Okay,
picture.
you're frozen, but I'm sure we'll catch up in a minute. Oh, okay. Oh,
That's my 6-year-old,
okay.
her picture.
Okay.
And then Isaac, my 4-year-old. You get a kick out of this one. I gotta show him off, right? There you go.
Oh, he does good at 4 years old.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good.
That's good for 4 years. I used to teach 4 year olds. And so I'm like, that's 4 year olds? Okay. He does good for 4 year old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually drew it alongside of him. So I would draw it on a piece of paper and I'd say, okay, draw this on your piece of paper. And he drew it. And so he had a lot of fun with it.
Or
But
even
yeah,
imitating what you were drawing. That's still a good picture for a 4 year
yeah,
old.
I'm a 4-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, great. Now, do you have any advice or anything for us as nannies? I know you wrote the book about being the nanny, the basics and beyond. Do you have any tips or um, special advice or any chapters that we should read first? Hello? Did I lose you? I think we may have
There?
lost her. Okay, I'm here. I hear you. Vera, you can find the book at Amazon.com. That's where the book is. I'm not sure how, if she's here or not. Okay, I'm going to close it out and see if I can invite her to come back in. Let's see if I can add her to come back in. Let's see, it says adding, so hopefully we'll get her back in. Adding, adding, adding. I'm not sure. Well, maybe, maybe not. Let me try this again. Not sure if she rebooted her. Um, okay, and now I don't see her name. So I'm not sure if she rebooted her phone or exactly what just happened. But and as I said before, I used the book, just in case I forget something. Some of the tips that she has in the book, I have used with other nannies, and the book was, specifically written for nannies, and those tips. Okay, Marcia, can you turn your phone
Am
the
I
other
back
way?
on with
Yes, you are, but
you?
you're
Oh,
you're kind of sideways. There you go. There
yeah, I'm not sure
we
why I did that. Okay, there we go.
are. Okay. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a low connection or anything, but I was asking you, do you have any tips or tricks or anything? Should we read the book in a certain order? What would you suggest we read first?
Okay, so I think you asked for tips and tricks, but was there
Yes,
something specific, just in general
just in general.
for nannies?
Yes.
One of the things that I think is really, I mean, it's not necessarily a tip or trick, it's just that I think sometimes nannies don't value themselves enough. And I feel like I fall into this trap really easily too, that you don't realize what impact you're having on not only the families that you work or the kids that you work with, but also the parents that you work with. And I think that valuing yourself is really important and understanding the role that you're playing in these children's lives and these families' lives. When you think about it, usually the children that can, that their parents can afford to have nannies are, these are our future leaders. These are the people that um, have the resources and things to go to good schools and are going to, almost definitely be leaders in the world in the future, and we have an impact on them. And I think that that is such a valuable thing that we sometimes take for granted and don't really realize. And we have the opportunity to teach them gratitude and grace and love and compassion and generosity and things that they're going to need in this world to be good leaders, and to lead the next generation to all of those things too. And so, don't underestimate yourself. The other thing that I would say is it's really, really hard, I think, and I know that I have, especially when I was a new nanny and a young nanny, and didn't know my value really at that
Mm-hmm.
time. I didn't stand up for myself as much as I should have, or I was anxious to stand up for myself and didn't do it very well. Sometimes those little tiny things that drive you nuts, that you think you can just let go, but they keep building, they keep building. You just need to say it. You need to say it to the parents. And not standing up for yourself, not standing up for your rights as a human being, as an employee or as an employee is a mistake, but also not standing up for the children and what they need in this world. It's something that nannies need to do. So those aren't necessarily tricks to do it, but I would just really encourage nannies to make sure that you know your value and then you speak your value in a loving and kind and respectful way, but not in, don't neglect yourself. And then the last thing that I would say about that sort of feeds from it is that don't go too much to the other side of things and think that the parent don't and neglect to see what the parents are going through, because a lot of times we as nannies only see our perspective or even only see the children's perspective. And I can't tell you, I've never met a parent that really wanted something bad to happen to their children or wanted something negative in their lives. But speaking as a parent myself now, most of the time when I make mistakes as a parent, it's because I am just trying to get through the day. I am just trying to make it to bedtime so that I can
Right.
like breathe myself. And
Yes.
so really, as you look at things, please be, try to look at it from the parent's perspective too, because they really almost always are doing the very best that they can with whatever they're given. And almost every situation that they encounter, that there's friction with you, there's miscommunication or there's misunderstanding or they're just exhausted and they're not thinking straight. So sometimes just taking that step back and trying to really see their whole picture
Right.
will help you too. So I don't know if those are necessarily tips, tips or tricks, but they're sort of things that are on my heart that really are at the core of working in a home as a nanny.
Yes. I totally agree with you. You have to sometimes put yourself in their shoes and realize that them trying to make it to the end of the day and trying to
Mhm.
make it till bedtime,
Mhm.
we get tired too. That's why they hired you, because you're the
Yeah, yeah,
professional and you can help them make it till bedtime. I know there have been plenty of times that I have, made the dinner and made sure that the bedclothes were out because mom is running late and she was not feeling well this morning. Well, more than likely, after a long, grueling day at the office, she was not going to be feeling well in the evening. So going that little extra mile to help them get closer to bedtime, have the kids all calm down instead of them riled up and ready to pounce when mom gets home, it makes a difference.
yeah,
Going the extra mile makes a difference. And parents really do appreciate it. Even though they don't say it all the
yeah.
time, they really do appreciate it.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
promise you they do.
Yeah, I think that that's really true. And I remember something, the book is entitled Nanny Basics and Beyond, Everything I Wish I Would Have Known All Along. And it's really true. I mean, I went to a nanny school and I remember hearing in nanny school, never do something once that you don't want to do all the time. And while I think that that's a good tip, I also think that sometimes it's not super realistic. Because if
Yes.
you never do anything to kind of go above and beyond, to be that team player, to be the partner that they need you to be, then you're not really a great partner, right? Because if my husband never sort of took that extra step and did something that he didn't feel like doing to help me, or it's not a great situation, we feel that respect and that love when somebody goes out of their way and does something that they maybe don't really want to do all the time.
Right.
Now, I truly believe that if it becomes a habit, it better get into that work agreement and you better be compensated for it, or
Thank
you need
you.
to say this is only for a time.
Yes.
I absolutely believe that. But I do believe in a job, at the job of a nanny. Sometimes there are those times where you as a nanny see the stress, the trauma, the frustration. Something is happening and you know how to help. You know how to fix it in that moment. You know how to make it a little bit easier for the parent. And if you go above and beyond and do that, I can guarantee you, though that you will not always get the thank you, you're always going to get the respect.
Right.
There's always going to be, they're
Right.
going to see that eventually. And you know what? Even if they don't, you know that you did everything that you can. You know that you made that effort to help the parents because ultimately it helps the kids too. And that's what you're there for. So,
Right. The
yeah.
ultimate is about the kids. And the kids are pretty much the extension of the parents. Uh, but if it's going to make the kids happier and make bedtime easier, and mom or dad has a temper and they tend to, fly off the handle, especially after a long day of work, and they're tired and they're coming
Mhm.
in tired, and the kid feels bad because mom and dad don't want to listen to them, go the extra mile. I mean,
Yeah.
it helps when you prepare that child for what's about to happen. And well,
Yeah.
mommy is coming home, mommy's running late, and she's not feeling well. So we're gonna go and we're gonna do this or we're gonna do that, and or we can
Mhm.
make a card so we can make mommy feel better. And usually, it's just the little things that turn that
Mhm.
frown upside down, calm them down inside, and say, "Okay, I need to pay attention to my child. I
And
need to
if
be
you see,
calmer."
yeah, and if you see a pattern emerging where this is a regular occurrence that the mom or dad are coming home super exhausted, super frustrated, and it's causing problems, that's a great conversation to start off with when you have
Yes.
like a monthly review or something like that and say, I've just noticed that you're coming home very stressed. How can I help that transition more? What can we do? What system can we work out that it relieves a little bit of the stress that you have, and it helps the children transition to you,
Right.
but it isn't something, I want to make sure that it's something I'm willing to do. So let's talk about that. What can I do to help
Right.
that's within
Right.
reason?
It's yes,
So
within reason, because ultimately it affects the child. And when it
mm,
affects their mood, affects the child, it's going to affect you, because some children hold, I mean, it depends on the age of the child, they hold grudges. So what went on the night before, you're going to feel the next morning.
oh
So,
yeah, oh yeah.
so
And I don't even think they necessarily consciously hold a grudge. I think it just affects how they are.
yes,
It affects them, and it builds up the tension in their bodies, and they have to release it somehow, and usually it's through negative behaviors
yes,
that you're going to get the brunt.
yes, you're going to get the acting out. Well, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened here last night? What am I missing? Yeah, you come in and it's like you can cut it with a knife, and you're like, okay, did I miss something? But yeah, sometimes it pays to, just so you can have a peaceful day. Peace
Yeah,
of mind is
exactly.
priceless. And when you
Yeah.
get peace in the home, and the child's not, in feeling all sort of kind of way because the tension that they're feeling from mom and dad, sometimes you are the peace that's in the home. You are the
Yeah.
peacemaker. And
Hmm.
so be willing to play your part as the peacemaker in the home. Now, like you said, negotiations, if we're going to have this on a regular basis, negotiations, a conversation of,
Hmm.
do I need to extend this or do I need to do that? And I can do this and we can work this out, and be respectful,
Yeah.
and don't come at them like, well, I noticed that this is always happening. Why? The attitude that you portray, you're going to get that
Hmm.
attitude back. But if you go to them
Yeah.
respectful, and say things respectful, they pretty much will be respectful and tell you, I mean, they may not tell you the whole truth, but they will give you some clue as to what's going on and why they have been the way they have been, and how you can help them. So,
And I think when you come at it from a perspective of, I want to help the
yes,
situation, it really relieves a lot of that something is wrong with you.
right.
I mean, you don't come at it like, I noticed you're mad all the time. You could say something like, I've noticed that there's a lot of tension when you get home, and it feels like you're really stressed out when you get home. How can I help relieve that? That sends a huge message, one, that you want to help, and two, um, in a kind way, that it is affecting things.
Right,
And it also sets up the situation for a better conversation about how it can be fixed, rather than you kind of coming at them as like, you need to fix this. It's we need
right,
to fix this.
right, right. It's a
Yeah.
team. If you play, and if you are a team player and approach it as a team player, the not the
Hmm.
big eyes and the little U's, and I'm the expert
Hmm.
here, and why are you doing this, and you're upsetting your child, this, and you're not the
Yeah.
therapist. Trust me, you
No,
are not the
no,
therapist,
no,
but
you
you can.
can't fix parents, but you
No.
can support them. You can
Yes,
support them, and you can
yes,
encourage them. And I find that with parents, saying something kind to them, something that you notice that they've done that's good, sends a huge message while you're trying to help relieve tension or fix, a problem that is the tension that's happening. You're not trying to fix the parent, you're trying to fix the situation. You
right,
can't fix the parent, but you can support the parent, and you can encourage the parent and tell them what they're doing good, because there's always something that they're doing well.
right,
So,
right. It's just like with a child. You have to, positive reinforcement.
yeah.
So the
We are
parents,
all like little,
yeah,
like big children. We
yes,
all like
we all need some positive reinforcements. Yes, you are doing it right.
that. Yes.
We all get stressed out, and we all have to have a release. Maybe you need to go to the gym. Maybe, on a couple of days a week, I can work overtime so you can go to the gym and get all that tension out of you. That way you can come home ready for the kids, and put that in negotiate that or some kind of way.
Or one of the things that I find has helped with parents who have multiple children is working, and this goes into the parent-child bond a little bit. That's another chapter that I have in it that I thought about mentioning tonight. That parent-child bond is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And parents who have multiple children struggle with that. I can tell you that right now, as a parent of multiple
I
children.
have multiple children too, so I
Sometimes
know
it's
exactly.
hard, right? Exactly.
Yes.
Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, won't one of them leave me alone? No. Um, but any way that you can help support that parent or those parents who want to spend a little bit of one-on-one time, and 15 minutes a day one-on-one time with each child is like life-changing for the children. 15 minutes a day is not that much time. And so if you can somehow work out a system where maybe you stay for an extra 15 minutes and every single night of the week the parent gets 15 minutes with one of their kids
Right.
by themselves. So you
Right.
stay with two, you stay with the other kids, and the parent goes off with one of them just for 15 minutes to do something special with that child. It can be a way that for the parent to come home and not go from no kids to all the kids, and that in itself can relieve that tension. And then it can be a way to build that bond and help the parent, really have the chance to connect with one child.
Yes.
So, I mean,
Yes.
there's lots of different things it's just about being creative, but it's about, you have to be creative. You have to know what the parent wants
Right.
and what they need.
And
So,
and you can't do that without having conversations.
yeah, no, you can't. You
Communication.
really can't.
Okay.
Nobody speaks telepathy, at least that I've met.
Nobody that I know.
Nobody that I know. I've never met a parent or a nanny that does it. So,
Okay. So tell us again where we can find the books. Oh, and I was going to ask you, will there be books available at Nanny Palooza East?
yes. So I had made a special offer for Nanny Palooza West, and I was there, so I was actually able to bring the books. But I am going to work out something with Sue Downey to be able to offer that same special. It was $15, and that includes everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have kind of a sign up for people that are going to be at Nanny Palooza East.
Okay.
And I will, prepay for it, and then I'll have it shipped directly to Nanny Palooza East. And I think that Kelly Gears she's part of the book, and she's offered to sort of help
Okay.
distribute them. So we will have a way that people that are going to be going to Nanny Palooza East can get it for the 40% off the cover price that I offered it at Nanny Palooza West.
Yay!
Which I sold out of, which was awesome. I was so afraid I was going to have to bring a bunch of books home on the plane, but I didn't.
No, we rally together and
Yeah,
we get
so
it
I will
done.
offer that. But it is available on Amazon right now for $25, which is the cover price. Who knows? Amazon changes their prices all the time. So look, maybe like they'll start discounting it if a lot of people start buying it. But if you want it quick, that's the best way to get it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thanks for
sharing
having me.
sharing your book with us and for all the collaborative that you've done to make this book happen. And I recommend it to nanny 0 to umpteen years of experience because
Thank you.
it's something for everyone. And if you're old school nanny like me and you need some new school stuff to keep up with what's going on,
Yeah.
you trust me, you will be put in situations that you'll remember. Oh, I got that book. Let me go
Yeah.
look. And it's a good reference book. It's a good read. It's a good even while you're on the job, tips of communicating, being assertive without being uh, what's the word?
Aggressive.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
assertive,
Aggressive
not
or passive.
aggressive. Yes.
Yeah, or passive. Don't go the other way too. You don't want to
Yeah.
be too aggressive, but you don't want to be passive. So,
And you don't want to be passive aggressive either.
yeah, yeah,
Been
exactly.
there, done that too. So it is a great book, and you can find it at Amazon.com. Thank you, Marcia,
Yeah, thanks for having me, Andrew.
for coming on and sharing the book with us. And I'll let you get back to your family because I know you're probably still recuperating from last week. So,
Yes, yes, I am.
so thank you, thank
Family
you, thank you.
vacation. Sunday family vacation. Oh, I'm
You need
tired.
a vacation from the vacation. Okay,
Always.
well, we'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's just me now. Thank you all for your patience tonight and me and my technical difficulties. I'm seeing rainbows in front of me. I'm not sure if it's because of the angle of my phone or what is going on, but I thank you for your patience. If you haven't signed up for Nanny Palooza East, please. Yay! So, also, there was another announcement. Uh, Tickets for Nanny Palooza will increase on October the 22nd. So get them now while they're regular price. And we will see you next Monday at our regular time at 7 p.m. And we will talk to you later. Have a good evening.